Good evening, my friends. Good evening, Hexicans. How are you all doing this evening? Thank you for coming. Thank you for showing up. Appreciate all of you. This is going to be an extremely cool stream. Why? Because I have a good guest. We have a guest that has a subject and a topic and something that we haven't talked about much, but I'm very passionate about. I'm very bullish for the future of this thing. So we got fully Croisened coming on. I think that's how you say it. I don't even know what that word means, to be honest. It may be, I'm going to have to talk to him about that. As far as I know, it's like some kind of, I don't know, maybe, anyway, a croissant. I don't know. Or some kind of brewing, something, German brewing, something. I don't know. Anyway, so got him coming on. Hello to everybody in the chat room. This is going to be cool. We're talking about Web3. We're talking about NFTs, all the stuff that used to be taboo in this community. We used to not want to talk about. Richard fudded NFTs early on, that they were worthless and garbage and this and that and the other. And let's face it, the early stuff is, but there's a lot of use case for NFTs. In my opinion, I think there's use case for NFTs. I'm not too sure about the $9 million JPEGs that people were buying and shit like that. I'm not necessarily sure that was necessary. But we're going to talk about use case. We're talking about NFTs. We're going to talk about cool stuff. So anyway, thanks for coming again. Oh, Melv Tony, thanks for the updates. Appreciate that. We had a little excitement this morning with some Bitcoin price action. I wasn't excited about it. Figured it was kind of some news, just some of the cycle. They put out an article about 120 something million dollars worth of Bitcoin moving yesterday. And that's old hat. Captain's been telling you guys for the last few weeks, the shit's moving out there. There's a whole bunch of Bitcoin every single day moving out there. I'm watching, $300-400 million a day moving in between exchanges and unknown wallets and new wallets and all this shit. Looks like OTC trades are going on to me, buddy. Looks like they're doing a little OTC trading. But in the scheme of things, put it in perspective, guys. There's supposed to be something like a 6 to 10. I've heard anywhere from 6 trillion all the way to $15 trillion coming into the space, pumping the market cap up that much. So if this little bit of, Bitcoin that's been moving for the last few weeks, which is probably a couple $1 billion, not much, it's really not a drop in the bucket for what's about to happen. So it's an indicator that maybe the bear market is ending, coming to an end. But it could also be a little fake out, shake out. So stand by for that. Don't get too excited yet. But bull market's coming and it's coming soon. So I'm excited about it. And we're still watching the moves. So anyway, without any more gibberish, I'm going to bring up, I'm just going to call him Fully, our new buddy of the show. Fully, what's happening, man? How you doing? Oh, let's see. Let me unmute you. There you go. Now you're unmuted.
Hey, what's up? What's up?
Hey, good to have you, man. So, you when it comes to Web3 and NFTs, your name is out there all over the place. So let's talk a little bit about, first of all, your involvement in the community. How did you get involved? Are you a Hexican from OG from the past? Are you new to the PulseChain thing? What's your story? How did you get here with us?
That's a good one. So yeah, my first foray into crypto was in 2014. So I used to mine Dogecoin. Got scammed on Doge Vault, lost hundreds of thousands of Dogecoin, and but I was also doing some art at the time, and so back then it was pretty customary to save a paper wallet, and we did kind of a little cheesy thing where had some templates for like Valentine's cards, so you could store Dogecoin in them and give them away as Valentine gifts with some Dogecoin in them. And I tucked a couple of those away in my my gun safe. And after I got scammed on Doge Vault, I left them alone. I left crypto for about 6.5 years, late 2020. And when Elon started pumping Dogecoin up, and I was like, I remember I still have a couple of these paper wallets laying around, and I didn't know what was even on them. So I'm an ultimate OG hodler for sure. So those just sat there. And then I checked them, and yeah, they were worth a lot of money. And that day I switched them all into Hex.
Nice.
Converted them all 100% out of Dogecoin into Hex, and then I staked a bunch 555. I made some ladders. I started teaching crypto classes on the third Thursday of the month. We had wine and charcuterie at my house. I really got turned on to Richard Hart by a buddy of mine, and we brought a bunch of people over, had wine, taught them about crypto, DeFi, security, wallets, OPSEC, how to do this stuff, and wrecked them all.
Brought them all in at the top, did you?
I have a personal mission to rise PulseChain to the top. So I take it to heart. But no. They were taught the right way. They're all staked up. Everybody has a little fun jab at the price, but they're going long. And so then I started looking at the timeline, and it was mostly shit and a lot of price. And I'm like, I'm staked. What do you guys want me to do for 15 years, man? So I started making art, and I'm a 3D artist, I guess, if you want to call it that. But I'm a very technical person. I've been in development and architecture for a very long time. I can write a lot of code. I used to teach Lua, JavaScript, C#, a lot of different things like that. And I also do 3D modeling. And yeah, so participate in the
Nice.
community. I think my third piece of art, I'm putting you on the spot a little bit here, Captain, is I think my third piece of hex art was a compass for RG3. And that was 2.5 years ago.
Who
And
nobody told me about that there was this compass that existed.
So this is where we are now. There's no you have redemption right now. I put you back in the Hex Museum. I took you down, to be honest.
I didn't even know about this.
I had a whole bunch of OG followers I followed for like a year and a half, and no one knew the wiser or gave much 2 cents about art on the timeline. And so I just kept building, man. I kept putting all my art. I build it, put it out there. It didn't matter if it got 1 like, 2 likes. I just put it out there. But eventually,
okay, so wait.
Oh, so,
Let's go
right.
back to this compass. I don't remember ever even seeing one or being sent a DM about it or anything. What happened? Did you send it out? And
Oh yeah, I sent it out. We'll have some fun with it. It's back in the Hex Museum. If you want me to share my screen for a second, I can bring it up and show you.
Yeah,
Is
go
that
ahead.
possible?
Oh,
just
man.
to have a little fun.
Yeah.
But there's no ill will. I just thought it was funny. That's the plight of the artist in the Hex community, to just give you a macro view, like put stuff out. There's a lot of what I would call the OG artists. I know who they are. I know who they're creating on. It was a little different than the YouTube model going down Twitter. And I see the guys grinding and putting stuff out there, and even making everybody that joined Hex for, man, a year and a half. I made a Hex credit card 555, and I put their Twitter handle on it. I made hundreds of those, man. And just, hey, welcome to Hex. Put it out there. There's some out there for Snoop Dogg, celebrities, anyone who joined and said, hey, I'm new to Hex. I gave them a card, custom made. But I'll share this real quick.
Yeah, I want to see that. And if I see it and it I will admit that I saw it, and I either just didn't have a chance to get back to it, or I didn't think much of it at the time.
Yeah. Do you have it? Do you have that? Do you see that?
Yep. Let me pull it up.
So the original picture, like that, this is modeled. You can see the 3D going on here.
I am honest. I am vaguely remembering it now.
And so the compass, is from the Jack Sparrow one, but there in the original picture, there's always a bunch of chips sitting off to the side, and I use that in several renders, and I always turn the compass to point at Hex.
Gotcha.
because it goes toward what you most want, right? So I try to put little nuggets in here and there in all my renders. You can usually find some sort of secret or something, but nobody ever notices them. So
well, I more than appreciate that, bro. And if you thought I blew you off, I didn't, because here's what happens.
Oh, it's not like that. Everybody's busy, man. It's all
and my
good.
DMs get filled like with stuff like I remember when I was doing some getting some tattoo art, man, I got flooded with it, and there was a lot of good stuff, and it was like I couldn't just. And my artist himself was like, "Hey, man, I'm doing this on my own, man. What are you bringing me stuff for? Because I'm like, hey, man, I want to, And he's like, no, I do my own stuff. And so artists are different creatures, and but I got flooded with this stuff all the time, and there's always somebody making something, going, hey, what do you think of this, or what do you think of that? And I just don't have time.
And that's why I love, like, I haven't done any streams. I was on Matty Allen's stream like one time, like along the way, but I mean, I've been pumping Hex. You can go see the Hex Museum. There's a Hex video game for kids. Like, you can launch your rocket, you mine Hex diamonds and carry little plebs to the moon and then to the Mars. There's a Hex video game. There's
what's the website for that?
Hex Snapchat filters. I'll share them after. Like, I don't know. You got to find them on my timeline, I suppose, and I'll send them out on my Twitter. But
yeah,
or I'll put them in. I'll put them in the link when we get a breather. But there's Hex, PulseChain, PulseX Snapchat filters. Yeah. There's there's just a lot of art, man, along the way, and just sharing it out there. I never sold any yet. I don't have an NFT collection yet. I'm kind of fuzzy. That's a funny conversation there. So we can talk about NFTs and where I'm at on NFTs, and but I almost got to the point, like you said, the art side is a funny bunch, man. You put stuff out, it's hit or miss. You try, some stuff falls flat, some stuff people like, but like engagement, and that's what I mean when. This whole HOA and Tangang and where this all culminates together is like what I always hoped for in web. Like, that's what Tangang did for me, man. That's what cookies did for me. I was this close, dude, to just never putting any more art on Twitter. I was like done with it. Like, I put so much out there. I put all this stuff, and it's like, oh, 5 likes, 6 likes, whatever. PulseChain finally launches. Made a few Pepe memes, and all of a sudden those are getting like 5,000 views, and I'm like, come on, Hex, like, where are you guys at? Where are you guys at, man? I've been doing this stuff, and I put one Pepe, dipshit frog out on a render that I have him on a couch, sort of, given the psychology brief to I kind of jumped in on if you look at a lot of my art, I usually try to capture the timeline. Uh-huh. And so it doesn't always hit. So I know that sits lukewarm with a lot of people, and they'll be like, oh, now he's an ass. Now he's a fan. Now he's an ass. Now he's a fan. Like, I get it, but I just try to capture like the sentiment going on and whatnot. So there's a lot of like, I mean, I got ripped on a lot. I made an animation of, one of the Bored Apes, busting the Hex diamond open and pouring Hedron out of it into a Louis Vuitton airplane bag. And you wouldn't believe the flack I got on that, man, when this was like pre-Hedron launch. And I'm like, I just thought it was cute art, man. And I had both sides like, oh, that's like amazing. Like, this is just a cool view. And then I had the other side going, you traitor, what are you doing here? Like,
bro, trust me. You've got to ignore that shit. First of all, thanks Ted D5 for the $10. And he says, just like Fully Croisened, you go out there and give it 110%. He's giving 110. That's what we also do. Look, bro, I have been on that trip this whole time, and believe me, like, I spit out a fucking spleen. I am talking like nobody's business out there about Hex and Pulse and PulseX. I'm traveling the freaking globe trying to bring adoption. I've traveled the country this whole last year. My time, my dime, my family, me gone. And all of this is nothing but cost me money. I've never made a freaking penny off of any of this. And I make a movie, right? I put my own money into a movie. I bring rate freaking 5 Emmy award winning production team to the table, make a movie about the Hexicans, and motherfuckers are still out there talking shit to me.
Oh, I know.
You did this wrong and you could have done that. And what's the matter? Are you retarded? You know, you name it. They said everything to me, you know, and it's, you know, you just got to realize it's water off a duck's back. It's going to come like that.
Yeah,
but then
you get used to it. Like if you're going to, as soon as you post stuff out publicly, like you got a pretty thick skin, you know, if you're doing content and artists, like you get over it pretty fast. I laugh at them sometime. I talked to, one of my favorite ones was with Cookies, and then we were kind of talking of, you know, some of the stuff, and you know, I rattled off some of that earlier, and you know, some of the stuff is not you know, free. Everything isn't open source and whatever. I'm paying for, you know, servers and hosting and different things to keep the spatial and the Grove going and all these stuff, and I'm just able to, and I want to create the kind of community that I always want to be part of, and so if I'm able and can, I'm happy to do so. But at the same time, I get messages sometimes. The one that cracks me up the most, somebody said, "What's your angle?" Asked me one day. I'm like, I've never asked for a penny. I've never charged a penny. I don't have an NFT collection. I don't have a donation link.
I'm pumping your bags, man.
Nothing, man. I'm trying to save all my friends right now. That's my angle. That's my angle.
I got a bunch of buddies in at the top. I filmed getting my buddy in at the top, and everybody had to, I got shit for that too.
It's like the instant gauge. Like, tell me you weren't here in 2021 without telling me you weren't here in 2021, because I know, man. I know.
Yeah. And you know, what's cool about what it is that we're doing here. So here it is. Let's just face it in a minute. Two old guys in this space, you know, out there kicking ass. I'm sorry, we're working it, man. And we're not supposed to be the ones working. It's supposed to be these youngins, you know? And so, you know, what is it that brought your old ass into this thing, man? I mean, you know, I have hope for the future. I always wanted a more robust experience on the internet. When the internet first came out in the 90s, you know, when they're like talking about it, and I'm like, oh man, this internet thing. And they're talking about chat rooms. Like chat rooms were like this, you know, crazy cool thing that was going to happen. And I was thinking, oh man, I'm going to be able to look on my computer and it's going to be like the metaverse. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking I'm going to be walking around with my avatar and seeing people, and they're going to have avatars. We're going to go into rooms and talk. And that's what I thought. And of course, that was far from, you know, what it really was in the beginning, but that's what my mind took me there when the internet first came out. This is before anybody had computers and all that, and or internet connection with computers. I mean, we had the Commodores and all that kind of shit, and then of course work computers with DOS prompts and crap. But so my experience was, you know, basically text to chat with people on, you know, DOS prompt looking stuff like IRC and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the experience until Second Life came out. So, you know, what made you want to continue going into this field and getting on the cutting edge and being part of the younger movement here? Because I mean, you know, we're, like I said, this really isn't our realm, but here we are.
Yeah, it's like, it's just baked into me. I've always been a technologist, you know, I've always loved technology. You know, I was writing, you know, I'm one of those, I was writing code when I was like 10 and 12 years old on my Commodore 64 and my, you know, all those kinds of things. I grew up, you were joking about my name, so you had a really good guess on that, but I grew up with my grandparents. And, you know, one of the, you know, obviously not around now, but, you know, even when I was young doing, you know, dial-up modem stuff with BBSs, like you're mentioning, and text chats and stuff, I had the Croisened, you know, name as my, you know, my screen name and whatnot. And that was from my grandpa always asking me, go get me a beer. And you might even know this, RG3, but his favorite beer was Old Style. And on the back of Old Style, if you read the script, it used to say, this beer has been fully Croisened.
Yeah.
And it was spelled with a
brewing
K.
technique, I think.
It's a German fermenting of beer process, but it's spelled with a K. So I changed it to what you see now. And
I did nail it.
I've had that with me. It's actually, you know, don't trust, verify. It's actually tattooed on my arm. So when we hang out in person or we get together on one of these tours, you can check that it's me, because it says fully Croisened tattooed right on my arm. So
yeah, I remember the name. My old man was a beer connoisseur too, and I remember the Croisened. Seeing that around Croisened was like the brewing process of some beers or something like that. That's all
yeah,
I
I don't
remember.
know why that stuck with me, but it always did. On the back, it said this beer has been fully Croisened, and I just loved the name, and somehow it was my alter ego
Stuck.
on everything digital. And then yeah, so built a whole career. The reason I'm still here, still going at this age, that's what I want everyone to constantly go learn, pick up a hobby, continue learning, pushing on. You've got all these assistants now, all this AI. Now all of a sudden
Yes.
you alone you have a 10-person team at your disposal if you look into some of these new
Yes.
tools that are available. It used to take 10 people to get together to do what you can accomplish as an individual utilizing these tools. You are now a 10-person team on your own, and you're seeing that show up in corporate America, in IT shops. It's what I'm part of by professionally all day long, and I want to spread that out to people. And I want a place where everyone can come and learn and share. I love teaching, and so it's still that thread. It's what I heard from Richard Hart all along, that financial freedom and chasing your dreams, and like I still have things what I would rather spend my time doing all day long if I had it my way. And
Bro.
you just keep driving toward that. It's like I want to create, I want to make, I want to teach stuff, and
Yes.
none of that pays like what I can go do over here. So I still do other things, and so
Yeah.
I've been fortunate enough. I've done quite well in my opinion. Like I've got a long term strategy. Some savings, investments. I've got crypto, I've got some real estate, and
Mhm.
I think it's about being all these pillars, and how important young kids especially should be thinking about. You know, don't neglect that fourth pillar. I think you should find a way to play in all those. As my own personal plan and strategy in life is that
Here's
I don't want to go all to one or the other, but I don't want to leave one of those off the table. So
yeah. Here's what's funny about that. So obviously I'm a generation in Hex before you,
yeah,
and oh, day one or month one, or I should say, I listened to Richard and waited for the first month to go over, and not by design, kind of by accident, but ended up, about mid-January coming in AA lobby and all that. And I'm like you, I'm 56 years old, so I've got my real estate holdings. I've got my retirement plans, stuff that I had put away, which was really nothing, and the things that I was, some gold, silver, shit like that, and but not anything that was going to make me, freaking Midas when I was done here at 75, working my ass away,
right.
because I was a blue collar worker, so I was out there hooking and jabbing every day, and I was going to have to do that almost until I was 75. But this has changed my whole life, and now these pillars, one of them is now worth 90% of my wealth, even at these prices. You know what I mean? So it is life changing, and it does change. And now today, because of Hex and what it's done for me and my family generationally, I do what I want, when I want, where I want, how I want, the style I want to do it in. And I mostly, put it into this community. Mostly I put it into, the PulseChain tour and trying to build something here to get the word out.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Because it feels good to be giving back to what has been given to me, and that's the real, you've really won and you're really successful when you wake up every day and you feel good about, you could either roll over you want, or roll out of bed, and instead of, hitting the alarm and bam, run into the door to get your boots and get out the door, it doesn't, that's not my life anymore. Now it's about, what can I do today? What am I going to do today? What was my schedule showing? How many Hexicans am I touching today? How many people are going to, be affected? So it really is, it's coming, man. The next generation, the next wave is coming. This next bull run is coming, and we're just gathering more and more troops. I mean,
Yeah, and that's what Web3. I'm gonna kind of ground into that zone. That's what Web3 does for me too. Like I don't have to be, I don't have to be the 51-year-old guy in Web3. I can hang out in spatial with these young, talented, amazing folks, and I'm the funniest little alien running around in the room. And it's wild. It's amazing. Like, and nobody cares if I'm, old. If I, throw out an ack and do a backflip off a stage on my face, people laugh and it's fun. And there's so much shit in the world. If we can go have fun for an hour, I think some humor and, some brevity and getting off the drama. I don't do drama. I might egg on a little bit with some of my imagery, perhaps. I don't know, a little, but
I do it here too, man. I egg it on.
It's mostly in jest because I think it's so silly. I'm like, all right, you're on my list now, and you're gonna like feel the wrath. And then even better, it's like, I can focus my craft and whatever. And I got hard hitting MFers to handle that for my shit now in my autonomous $1 billion marketing agency hanging that I'm part of. So it's like, I can go make creative stuff. I don't have to go tangle, with this idiot who, commented something stupid. Like they'll feel their own wrath. And so, it's amazing.
Spectral Mana, thanks for the $10. So grateful to have Croisened in our community. You're loved, my friend. You're loved. And you know what, dude, I do the same thing here. That's why I created Discourse Syndicate. So one thing was to get, the Hexicans that are worth their salt out there in front of people and doing their own streams and showcasing the community and giving people a place to talk. But that was one thing I wanted to do, was create Discourse, because I knew that everybody's got their own opinion of things. And I wanted everybody, when I was in the Marine Corps, it was like, now, like we'd get into fisticuffs, we'd fight, we'd wrestle, we'd beat the shit out of each other. But then we were at the E Club drinking a beer together.
Go have a beer and your buddies on the next day, right?
And you'd be sitting there with your eye all blacked up in pain, your jaw hurt or whatever it was. But you were right there with your boy, knowing that if you guys went off to the big one, that he was going to be on your left, the other guy was going to be on your right, even though you guys just whooped the shit out of each other. And so I wanted to try and kind of create that kind of atmosphere here. Like, look, it's okay for everybody to have differing opinions. It's okay for everybody to fight and argue. But then you got to come back together at the end and go, you know what? My shit don't matter. Your shit don't matter. What matters is the 90% of shit that we really agree upon.
Exactly.
That's what matters.
Exactly.
That's what matters. Exactly. This 10% of dogma and bullshit, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And
I wish people would go watch that video from Tangent just a little more often. His big shut the fuck up rant is like so great, about like, just go amplify the stuff you love and the stuff you like and do that. And if you just don't, just shut up and leave it alone. Like, don't give it any credit. Don't go and get in these long conversations. It's so wasteful. And I sit on.
It's non-productive.
Yeah, it's non-productive, and like I get so much enjoyment. Like I turn on the spaces. Like I'm only on, I'm on Twitter, and I jump in Discord, but I don't do Telegram. It's something I just don't like. I don't enjoy it. It's really chaotic for me, and as weird as that is, but I don't touch
Discord. Is chaotic for me. I don't even know how to. I go in there, I'm like, oh crap.
Discord I got down, but
I was so confused one time. I left my mic on for like 2 days. Everyone's like, "Hey, RG, did you know that everybody can hear everything that's going on in your room?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, man! Really?"
Oh my god. So yeah, it's like, okay, it's hard when you're only on like one platform or whatever. And like I used to do Twitch streaming for a while, so I, like and as a fan, I love going on DJ Cryptomatic. Like my Tuesday afternoons is usually like either my day job, or if I'm working on, something for the community, or, just my modeling and sharpening the blade and doing that stuff. I got DJ on Tuesdays. I love getting the Twitter spaces, historically the stuff like, Famous and Cookies and, all these guys running these long, streams. And, I just enjoy listening in a lot of the time. Sometimes I can't talk because I'm at work. But I really enjoy the conversations, and I pick up little nuggets. And I got my, the Hexican way. I got my receipts. I know a thing or two, and I make notes, and I chime in when I can. And then, like I said, it's to see people get excited and make use of like the Grove and be another way to like connect and community. That's like what I was like always hoping for. So it took like a long, grindy time to like get there, but man, I get so stoked when even if it's 5 or 6 people, we're hanging out in there, dude. We're streaming videos. I think you're up there right now in the Grove.
I think right now, yeah, we're actually
people
streaming
hanging
on the
out
Grove.
there. Thank you for whoever's doing that. I would do it, but it would tax my machine doing like both ways and being on here. So one of the other hosts is hooking us up. So thank you, whoever's doing that.
Mom, I'm in the metaverse.
Yeah.
Well, that's this morning. I think Tangent's stream that I did with him was actually put on the metaverse, and I'm really excited about that. And let's talk a little bit about the Grove and what's going on with the Tang Gang and
Sure.
the metaverse. And so last year and a half ago, actually, I went to Europe and I met with people at Ferrari. I met with people all down the auto row, I guess, from oh shoot, Bologna to all the way to
Wow.
Turin, and we drove down, and I went to different car. I mean, badass. You know, all of the bigs.
That would be a nice ride.
It,
That'd
it
be nice
was
to
really
see.
cool, and the funny thing is, the Italian that was driving me through there, we were in a Tesla of all things. So we're in Italy, going to all the car companies in a Tesla, and then we'd have to stop every couple hours to charge the thing up and sit there. And anyway, it was very interesting. But what I was working on was talking to them and trying to talk to Web3 projects about PulseChain and what was coming, because even though I'm not, extremely well versed in this area, I knew that, you needed a strong blockchain in order to test, launch, and build these metaverse projects. And when I heard PulseChain was coming out, I'm like, boom, that's it. Web3. Web3 can now exist because of PulseChain, because all these projects are done. I mean, the metaverse isn't hard for these people to build. They can build this stuff very easily. These boom, 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 boom. Every company out there has their own metaverse project. Even Selfridges, the big mall out in London. One of our Hexicans actually worked through them, and we're putting Web3 projects together. But the problem was they can never find support from a blockchain. And so, can you speak to that a little bit about, was the old guy here right that, PulseChain is going to make that exist now?
100% agree with you. It like opens the door to start innovating and start trying, and that's where it all begins. You got to be able to walk before you run. And when you have anybody with, in IT and corporate land or whatever that wants to go start looking at a solution that might include that, even though it's, the most expensive database, you could easily store that. That's the argument you have to win. So if you say, great, we could do this, we could incorporate these Web3 principles of being decentralized, being autonomous, being transparent, check, check, check. Let's go use Ethereum. And the first day you want to test your first interaction and it costs you $30, you already are game over. So that's done as far as a business venture or whatever, and it's not fun for their fans, even if it's a loyalty thing or a marketing thing. It's just this huge bucket. So enter PulseChain, better, faster. Now you can experiment, pennies on the dollar. You don't have to be worried about, every, right. And so I think what you're going to see is a whole bunch of experiments and people trying and people leveling up and growing. And I'm doing some on my own experimenting and whatever, but like from a company standpoint, and I think it's going to open up, jobs because they're going to be looking for people. Like you said, it's decentralized. You can't
Yep.
call 1-800 support me, but I think there are lots of people that can probably, help and consult and do that. So there's going to be jobs around this. There's going to be a lot of failures, but in that we'll like learn and experiment. So we always tell everybody do your own research, all those things. But you finally have a thing where companies will at least not just blow it off in 1 second because of the fees.
Yep.
And so you're over the first hurdle, because as soon as you do that, it's just shut down. Like we don't want to talk anymore. But now you go, hey, I have a cost effective way for you to try and experiment and maybe go do a marketing campaign with NFTs, maybe go touch your customers in another way, maybe go use this stuff. Now all of a sudden it's like, maybe we'll budget a project and get after this. So, I'm seeing traction. I consult with some places. I'm in a lot of groups with the Metaverse Standards Forum. It's a real thing. You can Google it up.
Mhm.
There's a whole group with NVIDIA, a lot of the big players, I'm in a couple of subcommittees and groups in there working on interoperable transferring of data for files, for worlds, all this stuff that I love and get passionate about. But um, there's more traction than ever. It isn't just that stupid name. And if it feels better to not say metaverse, just go with Web3 and talk about interoperability. And that's this notion of maybe using an NFT to also be your, anonymous pass into the concert or into a private room, or, RG3 and me have a special AMA, exclusive VIP night, and you can only get in if you hold, a certain coin or a certain NFT. You can do these sorts of things, and so you're just going to see a lot more experimentation and a willingness to try that wasn't there before. And that's the step one. You have to get them. Hey, I'm willing to go try, because it was just dead stop before. And I think we were talking in the green room before about a little bit on, yeah, you can try one of these other chains also, but hey, they might be down. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, they haven't had a good track record for the last 2 years that they've been trying to run.
Exactly.
But I can tease a little about the project that we're working on, and Tangang's helping out with, and probably you're going to be involved also. I would imagine is that there's a brand out there that is it's a household name, and the brand is top 100 brand in the world probably, and they had a riff with the company that they worked with and decided that, hey, we're going to go on our own and do our own NFT project, our own metaverse project, the whole thing. And as they did that, and as they took control of their content, as they took control of their management, as they took control of their property, they ran into snags with the blockchain. They put their content together. They built their metaverse. They had all their IRL stuff together. Everything was dialed in. They're good. It was the blockchain that failed them. And just like you said, ETH was too expensive, too cumbersome. They couldn't get things going. It was cost them too much money to try and, revise the programming or whatever else it was that they had to do. So what do? They look for another blockchain. And as they look for another blockchain, these other blockchains were garbage. And there was centralization there where they were having to deal with human beings and getting them onboarded and whatnot. And so they've been running into all these problems. Now, this is a project that's been running for a couple of years already. They're ready to go. And then they were brought to me, and it says, hey, can PulseChain maybe help these guys out? Well, of course we can. So who did I reach into? I reached into you guys who are the experts, the Tang Gang. I said, hey, there's a project out here that is looking to figure this out. And the cool thing is the leadership showed up and said, hey, let's talk to them. And right off the bat, they just said, hey, look, we're going to show you how to take ownership of your stuff. We're going to show you how to utilize the tools that are at your disposal. We're going to show you how to do it all for free. It's not going to cost you anything. Our time and our effort isn't going to cost you anything. And we're going to help you get it off the ground, and we're going to embrace you as a community. And it was like, what? Really? That's value. That's going to bring people to PulseChain. That's once big brands like that start seeing what's over here at PulseChain. I today, after closing this with these folks today, it was like, I am extremely bullish on what PulseChain is going to bring to the damn metaverse, to Web3. Web3 actually can exist like now. Now it can exist.
Exactly. 1,000%. And, again, shout out to Tang Gang. And, and if it wasn't that way, I wouldn't, I wouldn't be associated with it, because I don't have to be. Like, I choose to be. You can participate. Everyone is the same way. We send the invitation to everybody. You don't even have to buy a coin or shill a coin. You can just participate on the timeline, man, and we'll fill Twitter up with the funnest, best stuff. We've got artists, musicians, singers. Everybody's throwing skills into this stuff, and it's just a much funner time than staring at the chart worrying about a number. Like, I have no idea about Too Spooky is fully Croisened, baby.
Thanks for the $20 too.
Thank goodness he fell ass backward into this ridiculous meme, and it turned into a thing, because it literally has been been, for me, it's been just a bright star in this big nasty bear. It's like, you know, power to the creators, man. Content is king. Embrace your artists, support them. If you like NFTs, go get one and support the artist who makes it. If you don't, who cares? Kick it to the side. They're not all great, guys. Like, a lot of them are piles of junk. My stuff's junk. Don't buy it. You'll find a way to, when I finally get my project out, you'll probably find a way to have somebody give you one. Like, you're not going to get rich on a fully Croisened robot, but we might be able to have some fun along the way. And, maybe I can get to a point where I could at least offset some of my costs, and maybe I get to keep going. Right. So that's like my angle when someone like makes me laugh. I'm like, and now my lifelong best friend is like coming into the project with me. And, it's just like the funnest thing. Like, the way the circumstances worked out, like, he just has time and he's like, man, what you're doing is really cool. And I'm going to get a chance to like do some stuff with him, and the DApp we're working on, and what we got planned is going to be like really fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Man. Cookies begs to differ with you.
Well, his definition of rich is really deep. I mean, we can probably get some macaroni and cheese and cover it in Tabasco sauce, and he'd be probably feeling pretty rich that day.
Right on. Well, it really is exciting to be able to talk about this stuff for real now, and to see the community organically come together and say, hey, you know what? Since it's here, since we're going to do it in the tradition of free speech and free and immutable and community developed and grassroots and
what
and
we
just
all
bring
sacrificed for, and that's why I kind of laugh at the whole, we've been through the whole, Hex Maxi thing and all the things. Like, yes, thank you, Richard Hart. You made the most amazing things. And this is what I think he would want to see. He wants us all to win. He wants us all to flourish. He's given me a sandbox to take my skills to other places that I would not be able to do on Ethereum. I would feel guilty asking you guys to mint a goddamn thing on Ethereum. I won't do it to you. I don't care if I made the coolest piece of art you ever seen. I can't do it to you in good faith. But I think we can do this on PulseChain, and I think we can have a little fun, and I think we can trade some things around and experiment and learn. And for whatever reason, I figured Richard Hart would drop me a long time. He's followed me since Jump Street. When I got in the community, one of the first things I created was I staked 555. Like, it looks like a little credit card. People maybe seen them. I don't know. There's hundreds of them, but I post mine all the time. Like, it's a great reply for like posts outside of our communities. People are like, oh, something about interest rates or whatever. I'll just sprinkle that out there. It's just fun. But he followed me the day I posted that. Now if he's listening somehow, I always challenge him. I'm like, I'll trade my follow happily for a like or a comment, because I'm always just curious if he would go like, that's a cool shit. I would trade that moment for the follow, but for whatever reason, he's followed me and he's never dropped me. And I put some pretty controversial things. You could make the argument he would look at one of my posts and go, yeah, this is the day. I always think the day when I put something, I'm like, this is the day it's over. Like, it's ending right here. But I'm having too much fun with cookies, so this is going out the door. And I'm like, this is the one. And then I go check, a little bit. I ain't gonna lie, I do check. And I'm like, is this the one that gets me? Nope, he's still there following.
I think I'm the same. I think that what's the day that Richard's like, okay, I'm done with this garbage that this guy spews out there, and when's he gonna unfollow me? I think it's honestly he's too busy to go in there and find me to do unfollow me. So that's probably
I've probably just been sliding through the shadows, like by luck. But I think also in the back of my head, I think I'm doing what he would be proud to see people doing, and that he's given this amazing sandbox to incorporate crypto and to bring people to PulseChain and to like unite behind free speech and freedom, and that I could post a piece of art without him just snapping and going, oh, fuck you, and I'm done with that. I think I'm doing what he would be proud to see any Hexican go do, and as long as you're doing it in a way that, I'm not out to scam anyone or do the things, and it's a fine line between how you figure those people out, but you can also go scrub my timeline for 2.5 years and see how much stuff I've put out there that I just put out there. And, I don't ask anyone for anyone. So I think I'm doing what he would be proud to see everybody doing. But that's the story I tell myself.
That's all we can do, right? I mean, it's like, hey, I'm just going to go do my thing, do it with compassion,
That's right.
do it with passion, be convicted.
And better find this community now that it's like, it's so great, man. Like, I don't know. It's just fun when I see everybody supporting people and retweeting. We have a lot of fun in the Grove trying to keep it changing. We're trying to bring, I'm trying to update other art and bring, showcase other people's stuff. And I just want to shed the light on everything we have going on in, the PulseChain community, and, wherever I can help people. I've taught people how to do lots of things, whether it's in spatial. We've had, a lot of success reaching outwards. That's opened up doors. I've had some technical conversations with the folks at Spatial about getting PulseChain on their token gating access. Right now, they only support Ethereum and Solana, but we're going to try to make enough noise. We've been trending on their homepage for like 2 weeks straight, and we even onboarded a guy who just said, "Hey, just saw what was trending. I didn't know what was going on. I popped in here," and he heard the most ridiculous conversations, as you may often hear in the Grove. But he was like, "Tell me more," and he actually jumped on the Twitter Space because they're usually streaming that in the Grove, and so that you can kind of hang out with your avatars while you're listening. And he popped in, and we gave him the lowdown on what PulseChain was, and told him he had free coins waiting for him, and he's like, "How do I switch over my RPC?" And Bullish walked him through it like he always does, and helps like every single person that is willing to raise a hand and ask a question. Like, he's amazing. And we got this guy connected to PulseChain, and he found us because we were trending on the Spatial homepage. Like, okay, it's one person, but he's got a bunch of friends. Then we ended up hooking up with a big DJ there, and he's got thousands of followers, and he's shouting out Tang Gang. He doesn't know anything about Tang Gang, but he's giving us shout outs because we crashed his party in Spatial and brought like 20 people over there and had a big, just hangout dance party. And that platform, it's growing. It's offering a lot. I do a lot of custom development on that platform, and it's given a lot of new possibilities. Things for having music acts and in different ways to stream. And so there's lots of fun stuff going on over there. So, it's given us, it's given us avenues to like reach out beyond and maybe connect with some folks that, just aren't looking for hashtag Hex or hashtag crypto, so I really like being able to go get, I've made connections with the Ready Player Me folks. Those are the ones that you can have your customized avatar integrated with Spatial. So this is that whole interoperability thing we're talking about, where now your avatar is like spanning across these platforms,
different metaverses.
Yeah. And so you can start, chaining this stuff up by having these like NFT versions, and it's really, really, really interesting, fun stuff.
That is cool that it's finally coming to. I remember, back in 2008, 9, maybe it was, when Second Life was coming out.
Oh yeah.
And, that was a shit show of an experience. I mean, but it was, I had an avatar, I went in there, I tried the whole thing. I was like, yeah, this is what I thought, the internet should have been. And it was just obviously not ready yet. There was no blockchain supporting it. There's, none of those things. There was no other world. The world was very small in and of itself. But now I was in yours just a minute ago, walking around there like, this is cool, man. This is
really... And one of the, it's fun to bring these concepts back, because with technology and crypto, there's so many, parallel comparisons. So like that scenario you just gave, why Second Life sucked so bad and everything loaded up, whatever, it was exactly why. Centralization. That was all happening on a single server. So when you pack a bunch of people on there and a bunch of 3D content, you're going like, you couldn't even move around, right? Stuff's loading, like, this just sucks. The user experience sucks. Everything sucks. Well, bring in decentralization, peer to peer. Now that's what the same thing with all these spatial servers are doing. So you have these whole metaverse environments or worlds that are on their own servers that are being shared peer to peer. And guess what? Now all of a sudden we can have portals. We can hop from one to one to one, go to another one.
Yeah.
We can decentralize it and disperse the load. And now all of a sudden the user experience goes up. People like
Yeah.
using it, and we go to another level. And so it's the same concepts, man.
I need an avatar, man. I'm going in.
Oh,
I want to go play.
We get you a pirate set up.
Right on, man. I gotta go play with this thing. It's. I mean,
I think we'll kick Tangent's yacht out for a little while. We'll put the pirate ship there. Like I got one. We'll park a pirate ship up there tomorrow, and we'll kick the yacht out for a few days, and we'll go to the pirate.
I'm gonna be traveling to Dallas tomorrow, so I won't be able to play on it. But I'll be getting to. I won't be back till maybe we could do it next week or something. Right. I don't want to mess with Tangent either. Let's leave his yacht.
Oh,
there.
It's okay. It's okay to mess with him. It's
fine. Right on. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on. This has been really cool. I'm really getting excited about the future of PulseChain. And, like you said, Richard gave us the crypto of all cryptos, which is HEX. I mean, he said, look, here's the basics of crypto and what it should be and how it should work. And then he gave us a sandbox to go create all this bitchin' cool content and a place for HEX to survive on versus where it was getting choked out over on Ethereum, and then he gave us a DEX to go and do all of the financial stuff that we needed to do. So he's really done like wonders for the world. He has made some really, really cool things to take the whole planet into the 21st century, to take the internet into the 21st century. And just this community alone has already started, building financial products, building, perpetuals, and building Web3 and metaverse projects, and all, bringing art and music and entertainment all to the table and saying, hey, let's start doing all this stuff. Just our community alone, the most gate-kept community in all of crypto, is got more financial products built on crypto and more Web3 projects built on crypto than the whole world has in the last, 8 years, 10 years or so since crypto's been around, 12 years. And it's guess where we're going. If in 5 months we can have what we have now, guess where we're going. I mean, this thing is PulseChain's going to the moon, man. I mean, this thing is going to be bitchin'.
It is so ripe for levels of adoption that, we can't even process and conceptualize what that is right now, but it's so ripe, and it's checking all the boxes. When we blow through this stupid case and this gets behind us, that to me is where, it's like, if there's a couple people on the sideline, and I know of a couple that are just like, I just want to see how that plays out. I already know how it's going to play out personally, but there's folks that don't know what I know, and they'll come around, and then once that opens, it's like, it's game over, man. It is game over, because we're going to have the most solid, stable, way to do Web3 that's ever been available, and everybody's appetite is high for it.
I mean, 6 months, bro, and we're already 45,000 validators. I think it's we're the third most decentralized L1 out there at this point. I mean, and it's a infant, less than 6 months old, and it's already kicking the doors down of everything. I mean, imagine when it's 1 year old, where the validator set's going to be. I mean, we're going to be over 100,000 for sure after it's a year, because it's the networking effect is just going to pick up on the validating process. I mean, it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Just going to crush the numbers. It's going to perform like nobody's business. It's going to be.
And those are, truly decentralized from what I know and understand. It's on chain, all the initial ones put in place to get the chain alive. Richard's team pulled out of the validator pool. So
and burned all the Pulse too.
And burned them all. So it's like, okay, that's amazing. So I can't wait, man.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Well, Foley, it was awesome having you. I appreciate you coming on, man. And anything you want to shill out there, traditional
Man,
at the end of the show?
I don't shill, but if people want to engage and participate, I am working on my own kind of signature project. The whole goal is an experiment to bring something new to the NFT experience, like beyond the JPEG, loosely associated link to a thing, blah blah blah. But with some of these platforms that I'm personally involved with like a spatial and whatever, it's like, okay, I do want to make some NFTs, and I landed on this notion of having these robots. I don't know if you've seen any of
I did.
my timeline of, I've got little token robots for all the token, like I've got little hex guys and Texan tokens and things like that I can, like, they're like my muse. I can have some fun with those and poke the bear a little bit with people sometimes. But I'm just making my own designs, my own versions, that we're going to be able to, have a cool render. There's your NFT, and then you're going to be able to visit them. I have 2 laboratories in Spatial. When we do the minting, we're going to reveal them like one at a time as they're minted, like in the lab in Spatial, so you can like stand in there. So you don't have to buy one or get one or even have the requirements. You can come hang out in Spatial and
just see them
all
created.
getting revealed when that goes down. So we're going to try to have some different fun with the mint, and then that's just going to show, like, look what I can do. It's really, I mean, I'm a Midwest guy, so we bring it to the table first, and we don't make you a bunch of promises and say, hey, this is why you should do this. So it's like, go look at the body of the work. We are going to try to win some fans. I would love to take this project to the next level that would let me do it bigger and better than ever. So just like stay tuned is all I'm saying. And if you like a robot sometime, or check them out, we're trying to have fun with it. Don't buy one. There's ways to like get your hands on one. If you like what you see, then maybe in phase 2 you might want to throw $5 our direction. So we'll just see where it goes.
Right on. All right, my brother. Thanks for coming, man. Hey, if you don't mind, hang out in the green room for a quick second after I end.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'll just grab a drink, but appreciate it. Thank you a lot, RG. Really appreciate it, man. Like, that's, I guess, one more little final thing for the art. Like, man, I would love to see other streamers open their mind a little bit, like you just showed, and like have some of these content creators on, man, because they have an NFT project. They're not some vile creature on the web trying to take your money, man. There are some talent out here. There's hand-drawn artists, there's VR artists, there's singers. Have these people on the streams, man. Give them a reach out and say, come tell us about your art, tell us about your project. Like, they all love talking about the process. I'm going to be having on Tuesday nights in the Grove, not the Grove, probably going to have a different room for it, but I am going to be doing a content creator club about using, AI and 3D and metaverse type things, just like an hour and a half a week. That's going to be going on. There's more details come about, but if you're interested in that kind of stuff, follow my Twitter, get involved and encourage people to, reach out beyond the financial aspect, which we all love. Like, let's do that, but let's mix in a meme and some fun along the way too. So that's my plug.
Right on. All right, bro. Thanks for coming, man. I'll come back in the green room in just a second. Let's shut everybody down.
Thanks.
Take care. All right, everybody. Hey, I got one last thing. If you haven't done it yet, get yourself in there and let me pull it up. Where is it? The regulations. It's at LexPunk, which is Treasury Raid at Lex. I'm gonna throw that in there. At LexPunk Army. That's where you can go and get yourself your letter posted to comment on the legal actions that Richard has been commenting about. If you don't understand what I'm saying here, go to Richard's tweets and look at what he's asking us to do. I went and did mine today. Now I'm going to, Hexalina just sent out a kind of like a I voted sticker. Now for those of us who are blue check marked, you're going to lose your check mark for a day or two or whatever until they re-verify you. But if you can change it to what you've done, we're going to set out a little campaign. Everybody kind of wearing Hexalina's avatar. And I'm going to go put that on right now. Screw the blue check mark. I don't care for a day or two, whatever. It doesn't matter. But everybody should be doing it. If my dirty old pirate ass can do it, you can do it too. Let me post the link here real quick in the chat. There we go. That's the link to what is it called? Le Punk or Lex Punk. And get yourself in there. This is the most important thing that we can do right now is getting in front of regulatory and giving them our grievances or telling them what we think and why their overreach is doing what it's doing, and not helping the American people or the people out. So go in there and make your comments. All right, everybody. Thank you for showing up. Next week, party in Dallas. If you're not in Dallas, go to PulseChainTour.com. CZ is putting on a big party next week. I'm going to be there. I'm flying out tomorrow. I'm going to spend a couple of days with my sister and then cruise on down to Dallas for the big party. Going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Let me read this real quick. ID said, filing comments to the SEC is an awesome idea. I wish someone would have thought about this 5 or 6 months ago. Yeah, ID, we're on it, man. We're on it now. We got a couple more weeks left. Let's all get in there. It was very easy. Click, click, click. Boom, boom, boom. Bang, done. I pulled it off and put a little bit of my own touch on it, and then shoved in the send button, and boom, it was off. So get it done. It's not that hard. It's really not that hard. Everybody should do it. Everybody should do it. And trust me, they take this stuff seriously. They listen, and it scares them when they start getting stuff like this. I'm not saying that it's the end all be all. We're going to get this thing flipped over, but it's going to help your bags, guys. Get on it, get that done. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming. See you next week. Like I said, I'm gonna be traveling all next week, but maybe we'll have some effing hangout during the party so that we can do some live shots of what's going on down there and the fun you're missing. Yeah, and I think the captain's dinner's on me. I'm buying barbecue for everybody or something. All right, everybody, have a good one. Thanks. See ya. Bye.